assembling my men, a dozen hearty fellows, I'm proud to keep his friends. Kiss my lover on the cheek, and before she can speak, with the promise to be home soon, at least within a week. We've heard it declared, little here, little there, there's a curiosity, and it stands alone, a great obelisk of stone, and nobody really seems to know why. Was it built, was it grown, is it local quarried stone, is it for a darker purpose that remains unknown? Is it evil, is it great, is it granted, is it slain, and we ruminate and recklessly speculate, and we dive and we debate, and we question our own fate, and we hadn't even noticed that the time grew late, and we wander all around, and we're poking at the ground, excitedly expanding on the riddles that we found, and we share a celebration with a toast to our buds, and we bury all our worries neath a dozen foamy suds, if we never make it home or we disappear. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Here we are. When one researches item, you get everything from Masonic tools to ancient illuminated stone, part of the old infrastructure, the old free energy grid, things like that. You get talk of Egyptian gods, mythology, paganism, pyramids. There's a lot of theories about these things, such as this one here, where we're being told that they are proof that an institution similar to Freemasonry existed in Egypt because perpendicular squares, compasses were required to construct these items. Therefore, secret societies like Freemasonry must have existed. Well, I'm not here to talk about it. I don't know. Maybe all of it's true. Maybe none of it's true. I don't know. I'm just making an observation that I often do, that we are not so different from anyone else, anywhere, on, in, or around Earth. There are millions, well, hundreds at least, that one could choose to fixate on, to become a monument, or to mean something. As I've expressed before, there are things that are functional that are the same everywhere. Lighthouses, flashlights, modems, computers usually don't vary from nation to nation to nation. Style does, art does, relics and monuments should, but obelisk is for some reason everywhere. Now why? Is it in fact functional? Here's obviously one in Kentucky. Here's another one in Kentucky. This one pretty obviously built in segments. It's a battlefield monument, as they usually are. And this one in Louisiana looks to be one solid stone. And they vary. Here's one in Iowa. That's obviously in a graveyard. This is in Des Moines. Oliver Perkins' grave. Then you've got this massive one in Indiana. This is a World War Memorial Plaza in Indianapolis. This one looking much more ancient. I guess I could be a Civil War general, but not bloody likely. Little phoenix here on the corners. And they're often in the middle of a fountain, in the middle of a town square. And sometimes it seems like they are functional. Like whether they have a big antenna or a big light. Maybe they were illuminated from within, or the top was illuminated, or reflected, or gave off some sort of signal. I don't know. I like at the tops these little... I thought that was on the top of the lamp. But no, here's a little skinny guy in Illinois. And these are just, of course, the ones right here in the United States that It's another one in Illinois. And I'm just ruminating about. It's a very picture we see very often. The site of the World's Fair in Chicago. This one is not quite traditional obelisk. This is in Georgia. It doesn't really have the pyramid on the top. Sometimes you'll see this. And this one's clearly built in segments. Much more phallic, if you ask me. But they're not all like that in Georgia. Georgia's got a number of them, such as this one in the MLK Memorial Park. Much more traditional look. This is the Elijah Clark obelisk, also in Georgia. I'm obviously not going to show you every single one. This is outside of another courthouse in Georgia. Sometimes these war memorial ones have what appears to be like a shroud over the top. And you've probably all seen these time and time again. Here's another Confederate soldiers one in Georgia. Another Confederate one in Georgia outside of a courthouse. There's one by a church over here. This is also in Georgia. Different styles, a little obviously shorter, squatter. Looks like it's built from blocks. So what gives with these? Now I know they're memorials, they're monuments. They represent war or fallen soldiers or something we are to remember. But I just find it odd that we've settled on this shape. Who makes these rules? And we're told the first ones are from Egypt and brought, random places, brought back to England. This one's in Florida as well. And it's a very interesting one in Florida on this Memorial Island. And I just wonder what we're doing. This old, almost pagan gods and goddesses. Whoops. And I could just play a slideshow and let you think for yourself, I guess. And maybe I will. This one's in Colorado, Mineral Palace Park. And this is America the Beautiful Park, also in Colorado. These sort of flanking the entrance. You'll see this sometimes with the two sort of And this almost leads to the idea that these once were illuminated, or could be illuminated maybe, almost as welcoming lanterns. This one's in California, commemorating the Spanish-American War in Dorada Park in Oakdale. This one's in Sacramento. This is a police and sheriff memorial, looking decidedly unfinished, personally, and a strange thing to dedicate to police and sheriff. Maybe I'm missing something. Conway from Federal Monument. This one is in Gainesville, Alabama. And of course, you've got the old Washington Monument, the massive obelisk there. This one's also in Washington, D.C. This is in a nearby cemetery, Rock Creek. This one is in Australia. And it's interesting that in Australia, this one's in Hyde Park, Australia, that they would pick the same shape. This one looking very old, very, very old. Look at that. They built a parking lot around it. And I just wonder why. This is one of the architectural features, also in Australia here, that I find all over the world. And I wonder why. Because to me, yeah, maybe they are all these fancy things. Maybe they do represent free energy. Maybe they do represent war memorials. Maybe they're monuments. This one's in Venezuela. Looks like in a fort, obviously. Cannons kind of give that away. This one's also in Venezuela. Now, why would we share the same symbolism? Venezuela, Australia, and here. Why would we share the same shape of monument over and over again? This is Venezuela as well. And that's what the series is all about. This is me finding architectural features that are worldwide in places that do not get along. This one's got the old horse statue and the obelisk. This is also in Venezuela. And this is in Vatican City. And what do these places have in common? You might say, okay, there's a lot of Catholic population. Okay. For these two countries, sure. This is Uruguay. Obelisco de 33. Very odd. This is the Monument a la Paz. This is a peace monument, basically. 1872. You can tell, obviously, these are old. This is Uruguay as well. And we got that primitive fence. This wooden and twisted beam. And that thing on the hilltop. It's just odd. This is also Uruguay. With the same... So oftentimes you'll see this goddess on the top, as we've seen several times already. This is Obelisco a la Gloria de los Heroes in Uruguay as well. And another one in Uruguay. Uruguay. You'll often see them made of red granite. That's pretty common. This is outside of a hospital. This one is in Wales, United Kingdom. I don't remember hearing about any Welsh people that traveled to Uruguay, and I don't know what they would have in common. Why would they each build a red granite monument? So this is the question that I have, and I don't have an answer, other than I have an idea, a theory, and the theory is that we're not so isolated. That at one point, we were one worldwide culture for the most part. At least we shared ideas and art and symbolism. At the very least. At the very least, we shared the same technology, I guess. You could make the argument that. This is in Scotland, in the middle of a college, Aberdeen. Always in these old school areas, or in forts. This is Fort William. This is Scotland. I think it's the same one, actually. Yeah, just a different angle. This is another war memorial in Scotland. The Cyclists War Memorial in England. And England has got, I don't even know, untold amounts of these, as you can imagine. And what is the common denominator? What is the point? Why are we all making the same symbol everywhere for war monuments? These are all in England, by the way. One is Southport, Lord Street. This is the Samuel Smith Memorial in Liverpool, England. Red granite as well. Very common. This is Liverpool Cathedral, Earlstown Market. This one's out in Allerton Manor. This is St. George's Circus. This one is a war memorial, East Sheen, Royal Hospital in Chelsea, St. Luke's Church. There's a lot of religious crossover, but there's a lot of political crossover too, often outside of forts or courthouses, ranging in size, ranging in material. This one appears to be old brick. This is Blackpool War Memorial, also in England. So, is it just that English people brought the joys of their obelisk everywhere, and people are just enamored with the shape of it? And I thought, oh my god, I have to have one in my town. Or is there something more going on here? This one looks like it's had something removed here, like an old shield. And this was a fountain, I guess. As they often were. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were fountains. Maybe they were some sort of... Maybe just simply an indicator that's where the fountain was, so you could see where water was from miles away. I don't know. I feel like they've been repurposed, a lot of them, as monuments, though. And sometimes they don't really make sense. Like this one up on the hill here, I just don't understand what's the point of this. To remember something? I mean, why don't you just build a statue of whatever it is? For example, this is a cyclist monument. Why don't you build this big cycle? But the fact that they've got this copper, the top, and just something unique about it. And maybe it's just a form of communication. This one's a fountain as well. Here's one off in the distance here in England. Ooh, here by this industrial estate, we have two of them. This one out by a fountain, a little pond out here. Very interesting. This one's in Ukraine. Now, this one's not a quite classic obelisk, unless the top fell off. Possible. This one is Ukraine as well. Also in Ukraine. Now, all of these aren't the same. I understand. I don't know if this is an obelisk. I think in order to be an obelisk, you'd actually have to have a pyramid on top, typically, like this one here. This is also Ukraine. But maybe not. Maybe just having a square tower is enough. These are all in Ukraine, by the way. This one as well. This one just looks like it's someone's backyard. And another one in Ukraine here. Old cathedral. This one is in Ukraine as well. It's like it's been Ukraine with this. Wonders how they built it, huh? And for what? Up on the hill up here in Ukraine. We see this before with the terraced sort of, well, sometimes it's a fountain. And you get your torus shape here, or the wreath of eternity. Very common to find those together. This one's in Turkey. Rather weather beaten. I mean, yeesh. That one probably didn't survive the earthquakes. This one's in Turkey as well. Very old picture. And here you have two flanking this monastery, I believe, but I can't be sure. Who knows? Maybe it's a shopping mall by now. This one is not quite an obelisk here in Turkey, but it's kind of cool nonetheless. That wheel, lions. In the fountain, of course, the octagonal fountain. Here's another one. It's a little mini fountain. This is in Switzerland. I don't remember where this one is. Can you guys tell me? Whoa, careful with that loincloth, bro. And what's this guy doing popping up out of this hole here? Dude, get out of there, bro. What if that's the old outhouses are like? Just your face exposed here. This one's in Sweden, and also Sweden. And, it's photographs from 1890. I don't remember. Sorry if I failed you. I'm sure someone will recognize it. I'm not getting any clues here. I want to say it's... Okay, it is in Sweden, yeah. This is just a more modern picture of it, but that's the same. Looks like the inscription might be gone, but that's the same monument. Same obelisk. Same here as well. This one's in Sweden. These two are in Sweden. This one as well. It's a very old Swedish picture. Wooden buildings, yet you got this here. So what do you think it was? What's the theory? I mean, just simply monument? I mean, we just all universally agree that to honor fallen ones, we build a column with a pyramid on the top? I mean, it just seems odd to me. I don't know. This is South Africa. This is pictures from 1899. And a lot of them seem to be repurposed, built, allegedly, in 1899. But I personally think they're repurposed. Here you have the symbolism here. We have the wheel. They looks like repurposed. Had a cannon on it. Torah, almost a phoenix shape. This motif here. This one's also in South Africa. And South Africa as well. And in Port Elizabeth, South Africa as well. I believe this one is the same as this one. I'm not sure why that was circled. Perhaps they're trying to say more of the platform was exposed back then. Okay, yeah, and here you have, this one's a fountain as well. So my guess would be this had something to do with water. And maybe it just simply extracted ether from the water and the top was illuminated and it sort of stood in the town square to illuminate the area and it also indicated where the town water supply was. I mean, I don't know. But I don't think that stylistically we're all the same. I don't think that we're born with this inherent, we all are just born with this idea that this shape represents, a monument. This is South Africa as well. I think it's more likely these were functional at some point. This is Slovenia. And you got the ball here and the spike and, the same kind of stuff. Do I believe that they're all old technology that used to function? No. I think a lot of these things were built in imitation of what was before. But some of them probably were. Else, why would they be everywhere? I mean, water fountains look the same pretty much no matter where you go. This one's in Slovenia. Again, in a fountain. This one looking as if it used to be illuminated. And if these balls used to have mercury in them or lead, like some people have guessed, and picked up on these low frequency that was sort of beaming out, I could see these illuminating stairwells and sort of welcoming gates. Some of them. This one's in Slovenia as well, and this one is also in Slovenia. And this picture is from 1961. There's a couple more flanking the gate here. And this is the 1967 postcard in Slovenia featuring more. One really faintly back here, if you can't really see it, but it's back there in the town square. And here is one in Slovakia. This one very similar to that one in Georgia we saw, also in Slovakia. Slovakia as well. And this one looks like it was maybe a fountain? Sure seems like it. Got some drippage, but that could just be from rain. Here's one missing the pyramid on the top in Slovakia. Here's one from Slovakia as well. And you see this theme very often, the laurel leaves. This one is in Singapore. Now, why would Singapore have the same memorial with the same architectural sort of motifs? Why? This one's in Serbia. This one is in Mother Russia. It's kind of a bad example. There you go. This one's in Russia. That's more like it. And Russia has no shortage of them. And some of them, like everywhere, look like they're solid stone. Or at least maybe like a concrete spread over blocks. And some of them are just, just made from blocks. This is the Russian Obelisk of Glory. Is that the red granite one? This is Russia as well. Orb and Scepter, Phoenix. It's just, you'd think that we'd be more creative. You really would. You'd think that we would stylistically be very different, but we're not. We have the same shapes everywhere. And I have no choice but to believe that one of two things. At one point, we were all united, and we were one very common culture everywhere. From every country you see here, Russia to Singapore to Venezuela to Australia to Louisiana, everywhere we were united. And somehow we got twisted and told that we were different and turned against each other. But they couldn't get rid of the old symbols, so you have multiple countries with the same flag symbols and the same national symbols, and it makes no sense. Or they were functional, and we were never united. And war was our thing forever, and these were just some sort of broken, lost technology. I don't know any other way around it. These are all in Russia, by the way. I mean, down to the type of stone used, it's just bizarre. This one's in Romania. It's a very grotesque one. Is that a heart or something? Ugh, can't say I like that one. I didn't even notice that before, but that's kind of brutal. This is Romania as well, the Independence Monument. Also Romania. Also Romania. Shocking. The symbolism. It's everywhere. This one's in Romania. And also Romania. Eagle here. Got your little Torah. Wreath of Eternity. You got the same friggin' symbolism everywhere. And I mean, this one looks identical to the one we saw earlier. In Georgia. With 4 phoenixes on the base. I mean, give me a break. What does Romania and Georgia have in common? An obelisk, sir. Shut up, Jimmy. Very bizarre. This one's in Puerto Rico. The old school bandstand thing here. The shape looks decidedly fountainish. Dude, Edward Scissorhands was here. It's pretty impressive. This one's in Portugal. Also in Portugal. And a fountain, notably. Here's another one in Portugal, a small, looks like a one piece of marble. And more war monuments in Portugal. This one as well, looks like an old fountain. You know, I'm sure there's hundreds more in these countries that I did not feature. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. The crown and the ball and the spike. The same friggin' thing everywhere. What does it mean? This one's in Turkey. The fountain, also in Turkey. And Turkey as well. The wreath, the ball on top. This one, I actually don't know where this one's at. This one's Poland. 1971, this picture was taken. Poland's got no shortage of these war memorials and whatnot. This one, well, 1872 was constructed, allegedly. 1785, this one in Poland. It's all the same era. Same 100 years or so. Phoenix logo. I mean, you'd think this was all in one country. If I didn't tell you any different, you'd think this was all one country, one land. If you'd never been here before, and you were just looking at pictures of Earth for the first time, and I just said, yeah, this is all one land, you would believe it. Other than the languages, the various languages, it looks identical. I found that to be very bizarre. Well, since I am just apt to keep repeating myself here, because I don't know what these are. I've gave you my theories, my ideas. I'm just going to play some random music I've made as a backdrop while you marinate and ruminate and come up with ideas on your own. And if you've got any insight, I'd love to hear about it. And rather than tell you, these have all been in Poland, by the way, I'll just start listing them, the locations on
want you to know, world, I haven't forgotten the old you, and I'm not so certain things are better now. They only tell us the truth, and I've never forgotten the visions of old that I see in those photographs and through these surveys. No, I won't let it go. I'm resurrecting your memory to the old world. My heart goes out to you. It is in your legend, and your virtue is why my heart and yours stays true. And I reject the new one, though I'm grateful for some of the nice things we have. I'll never let your memory fade from my mind. No, I won't let it die. No, I won't let it die. In the meantime, in the meantime, in the meantime, in the meantime, no, I won't let it die. Do you hear that thunder? There's millions of hearts out there beating for you. Is it any wonder through all of the trash that knew you put us through? And I know that sifting through all of the nonsense that they spew is hard. Still, you were worth every minute and hour and second. And no, I won't let it die. No, I won't let it die. In the meantime, in the meantime, in the meantime, I won't let it die. No, I won't let it die. So cheers to the old world, and cheers to anyone remaining so true. Here's to the whole world, shifting on its perspective, focusing on you. I'll offer it freely. I'll offer all the love and the light we had back. Although from what I can tell, it will probably have to. They'll probably kill me for that. In the meantime, 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 so the smoke goes out to the old world.
Well, that's 2 songs that I've made about this video. That's a little ridiculous. This is not that important. But let's talk about what some of the theories are behind these obelisks, because I mean they really run the gamut. On the one hand, you got the idea, this sort of fringe concept that Freemasonry is based on ancient Israelites and their worship of Baal, and the claim is that obelisks the Freemasons erect everywhere in honor of goddess Ashtoreth. In the Bible, it was called Ashtoreth's pole and stood next to the temple of Baalim. Allegedly, I don't know. I don't know where this is in the Bible. But Gideon was instructed by God to cut it down. The temple of Baalim was also the temple of Yahweh. Yahweh is not God's name in this theory, and the temple Solomon built was condemned by God. And so the claim is that the major obelisks, like the Ashtoreth pole and the Washington Monument, St. Peter's Square, that they're erected across from a dome. The dome is the womb of Ashtoreth, and this is their hermaphrodite god, their Baal, Baphomet, Beelzebub, whatever. And that's obviously a very fringe theory. I'm not saying it's not true. I don't know. Got this book here called Babylon Mystery Religion, and it talks about the obelisk being associated with sun worship, a symbol of Baal, which was the title of Nimrod, and between the sun, the womb, and the phallus of the obelisk. That's allegedly what the ancient peoples believe, represented the life. And according to this book, when the Israelites mixed heathen worship into their religion in the days of Ezekiel, they erected an image of jealousy in the entry of the temple, which is allegedly, or it's theorized anyway, that's an obelisk. So when the mystery religion, we're told, came to Rome in pagan days, all the obelisks of Egypt, and many of them at great expense, were hauled there and erected by the emperors. Caligula had the one that's at the Vatican, brought in from Heliopolis, which was the center of Egyptian sun worship. And And these are the ones that are mentioned in the Old Testament as the images of Beth Shemesh, which is the Greek name for, what's the other name for, Heliopolis is the Greek name for Beth Shemesh. So, this very same obelisk that's at the ancient temple, the center of Egyptian paganism now, it's in the mother church of Roman Catholic. It's probably not a coincidence. Interesting to note that the Pope, in 1586, it was where it was moved to its present location. The Pope had attached the death penalty if the obelisk was dropped and broken. Like, a little harsh for a man of God, But apparently, September 10th, 1586, they did it. The crowd, upon penalty of death, was required to remain silent. And the cross on the top that I referenced earlier is supposed to contain a piece from the original. Now, there's some theories that obelisks are simply towers, similar to spires and steeples of churches and mosques. Many of the towers built in the Babylonian Empire were religious towers connected with the temple, just like today. It's possible that Babylon is the source for these religious towers. You have the Tower of Babel. You have the Hindu religion, you have great pagodas, and Christian, Catholic, Protestant, all have towers. The great cathedrals have towers. Small chapels have towers. And now, is all of this just tech that's been repurposed and sold as religion? I kind of think so. People don't like it when you say that, but the cross did exist before Christianity. It was a symbol of the god, or like Chaldean gods. Well, while I've got your attention here, just briefly, I want to introduce to you an original thought. Well, at least as original as far as I know. This occurred to me some time ago, but I realized that this is probably the best opportunity to present this after I've inundated you with a certain type of imagery, type of picture you've seen 1,000 times on various flags and shields and banners and things. But today, after all that, it might look a little different. I don't really have a working theory, but I just want to give you something to think about. Because my entire life, when I viewed this particular type of imagery, I thought it was one thing. But now I want to introduce the possibility into the back of your mind that it's actually something else. What is this emblem? And it is this. You see what I mean? I've always thought this was something, but it may be something else. Coil here. All of our symbols have been bastardized, right? What is all this? Is it really an anchor? Or these ankhs? Or is it an ankh? Or what would be one more? And I'll see you soon.